Hello and welcome to Arsenal Above All. Well. We've reached the World Cup break and it's exactly what it says on the tin. Arsenal are above all. To discuss the Wolves win and more, I have Bez, Kelmendi and Neil Shah with me, the two top guys. How you doing, boys?
Very good.
Great stuff. It's getting a little bit... I'm sorry if it gets a bit boring and at the moment we keep talking about the same thing. You know, we're top of the league again. Another win on the road. Shall we just call it quits? Thanks for everyone watching. I've been Michael Harris. He's been Neil Shah. He's been Benjamin Randy. This is Arsenal Brother. Come on, you Reds. Have a nice Christmas. See you later.
What's a podcast? The best ever.
I'm out of here.
But no, yes, basically, yesterday was for me. It was a number of things, which we'll obviously get into. But it was like it was respect the way that Wolves set up against us. Like first and foremost, obviously they're bottom of the league and what have you, but literally they parked the bus. We obviously wanted to try and hit us on the break. I think this is what we're going to find. We're going to come up against as we go down the road because obviously teams are respecting us now. But in terms of how we approached it, obviously the first half was a bit frustrating, but the second half, I think, and which we'll get into, I found was really, really professional. What did you think about it, Bez? I mean, from what you saw and obviously what you've managed to catch up on, what was your take on the actual performance yesterday and obviously the lineup and the start with Xhaka's illness?
Well, first and foremost, thanks Arsenal for doing everything right the first half of the season, and long may continue, because so far I've not had no complaints in this league form. You get that back in the midweek, which I kind of was a bit disappointed against Brighton on his League Cup, as we mentioned together between us, but it just feels like they can easily have a little setback, come back stronger, give us all you got, and then Brighton does today. I feel like fine, Brighton, you can beat the big boys, but when it comes to the little boys as well, you have a little habit of having a little handbrake on and you suffer as well.
Yeah.
I'll talk about us now, because really, I can only say, yes, it was faultless. I only saw the first 20 minutes. Come back after work, I saw the second half. We seem to be very cautious, professional, as you mentioned. Also, as well, I give credit to Odegaard. He got in those positions where he shouldn't be. I know, as we said, he still Saka's goals, but hey, we're a team, we're a unit, we're playing for each other, we're showing. I'll say as well, I read a little article online that the Wolves interim manager said Arsenal should have been penalised for the Saliba challenge. I'm sorry, but don't you recall, in 2020, if I recall, David Luiz, a certain joker as we called him, he barely touched that player, gets a straight red, he's a penalty, no one touched him. I'll say to any Wolves fans not to attack them here, and I know it's my third cap tonight, but please, what comes around goes around, because if that's a foul, if you had a red card over that one, revenge tastes sweet this time. I enjoyed it, that one.
I think just before I think we've got the right response to that bit there. Just let me show you this. I think that's the right response.
Love him with his Wolves fans, man. He can't stand as well.
He got pelters all game because apparently he's a West Brom fan, and he was just giving it to him. And there was a couple of bits where he was just giving it to him for the whole second half. But sorry, Bez, to interrupt. Yeah, continue, man.
No, it's fine. I feel same as Ramsdale.
Yeah.
Same with the Wolves fan. I'm sorry, as I said, in pandemic, literally David Luiz barely touched that player.
Yeah.
Barely even touched him. We saw the replay. Straight red, no questions asked. And then now the man is saying we're relying on the referee to make the decisions easy for us, to make sure we have a 1-0 lead going to the break. But I say, man, have you not been keeping up with the recent times of our games, fixtures running before? How simply you expect referees to bend the rules just for your sake, just to win the game for you. No, you need to fight it. You need to earn it now. It doesn't work because you're bottom of the league. We're top. And there should be bias. Surely enough, I feel like give us a break too, because we suffered a lot, us as fans even. The players who've come, from nothing, let's say that. Let's say Odegaard 3-4 years ago, who was hanging by a thread, as we know, at Real Madrid. Now we get him. You see what makes. He's a captain. He's making everyone feel like special because he's got that calmness about him. So I guess he's very good in his role. I mean, I was a bit angry and a bit sad that Shaka carried on. He got injured the first 2 minutes as I watched the game a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know why he carried on. I don't know why on earth he carried on. Like, why make it worse for yourself? Like, for your country playing in the World Cup even. I mean, it's sad to see that. He's been rock this year so far.
Yeah, it was a bit of a, apparently, there's a few players, weren't there? I think there are 4 other players that had come down with some food bug or something after they had a meal. Looking at the players from the performances, you could say Saka was probably one of them. He looked a bit off colour a little bit as well. But yeah, I don't think anybody else sort of showed up to say that they were really under the effects that much. But yeah, at least it was an illness rather than an injury or hamstring or muscle injury, anything like that for Xhaka. And obviously, hopefully, he'll go and have a good tournament and just continue to keep playing as he has done all season. The guy's just a machine. Neil, obviously we were following the game on swapping messages as WhatsApp as we do. What was your take on the game, man? And just obviously the captain coming in and delivering.
It was again another game which shows our character. Wolves away is not easy, and coming off again another defeat, albeit in the League Cup, is still a defeat which kind of stems or stunts the role and the momentum that we've been enjoying. And a lot of the senior players were involved in that game because they were brought on as substitutes, so they were all involved in some capacity, and they've come back. And yes, it wasn't a pretty victory. It wasn't. It was a match full of grit, I thought. And the Xhaka thing initially was a tough one to take. But I agree with Bez. When I saw him go down the first time, I thought, why is he carrying on? It very much reminded me of Saka the other day when he carried on, was still hobbling around, and then eventually had to go off. I think this is where Arteta's got to step in, and he has to say, no, you're off. Yeah. You are off. We're not risking you. From our point of view, from an Arsenal point of view, it's not the be all and end all because we're going to have a break anyway. But for those guys who are wanting to perform and participate in the World Cup, it's a big thing, and I just feel that Arteta really should be stepping in at that point, or at least getting advice from his doctor or whatever the decision has to be. They have to come off. But and then I thought, okay, we're going to have Vieira come on. Again, another opportunity for him to shine, because when he first started, I thought he was amazing. He's kind of had a bit of a dip, and I thought this is your opportunity. You've literally got a full game, and so I thought initially the team was a little bit imbalanced. It just shows how important Xhaka is. It's just been so magnificent for us all season, and I thought, how is that going to affect us? But to be honest, although it was a bit of a gritty game, I thought in a way, we controlled it as well. It wasn't the prettiest. I'll tell you what, Martinelli, oh gosh. Guys, we talk about Saka being a machine, Xhaka being a machine, but that guy, he's got it all, hasn't he? And you know what I've always said, and you'll attest to this, Michael, I've always wanted him to play in the middle. Do you remember? And okay, and I'm no arguments now. He's doing brilliantly on the wing, so there's no issues there. But I saw on more than one occasion in that game against Wolves, he was drifting into the middle and the damage he was doing. Mm-hmm. And that is why I've always wanted him to play in that position, because I know he can be devastating in that position. Yeah. And he was just going from left to right in the middle, and he was just doing exactly what Jesus does. And Jesus, again, was great. Yeah. But overall, I thought it was a deserved victory. Yes, they can argue the penalty. And I think Bez was absolutely brilliant there, the way he just summed it up. I'm so glad you're on this channel, mate. You just summed it up perfectly. So there's nothing more for me to say. Yes, I mean, but you know what? How many times have we been had the wrong end of the stick? How many times? And how many times has it gone against us? How many times has it cost us points? And we've had to just get on with it. But when it happens when it goes in our favour, the biggest deal is made out of these things. My goodness me. I know you want to touch on it later, but Michael, I was watching it on Sky, and at the one point I thought I have to turn this off, because they're just constantly going on and focusing on that point. If it had been the other way around, it had been about us, we wouldn't even have got 2 seconds on that. And that's what infuriates me. But you know what? Bring it on. because the victory when we're all at the parade in May, we're the ones that'll be laughing, not them.
That's good.
No, it's happening, mate. It's happening.
No, it's so true. Yeah, we'll touch on that. But it's always you talk about touching Odegaard, who I think there's been some people saying the amount of goals that he scored away from home compared to Mesut Ozil, and people are trying to say that, trying to again trying to have a some sort of debate going, but something where someone's being thrown under a little bit of shade and stuff, and it's not necessary, it's not required, because yes, you can point that Odegaard has got more he's on track to score more goals than away goals than Ozil had. But then you take into account the assists that Ozil would have created and who he was playing alongside, and who Odegaard is playing. So I don't get that. I don't get people still trying to compare him to other players. He's like people comparing Henry to how can you compare Henry to anybody? People compare Henry to Drogba. Silly debates, and it's just to get people riled up or whatever. But I thought Odegaard, the way he stepped up and got those 2 goals, just reminded me. And here I am comparing him with someone, but it just reminded me of what City have in terms of Kevin De Bruyne, where I think last season City were again on the run and they played Wolves away from home. And I think De Bruyne he scored 4 goals, didn't he, against them? I think he scored 4 goals and he smashed them. And he came in, clutch. He came in, when they needed him to step up, he did, and he won them that game almost single-handedly. And I think Odegaard basically was there at the right time as captain. Again, just keeping things ticking over and moving around, always manipulating the ball, always moving and stuff. And this guy, I mean, he's as Bez said, 3 years ago, he was like languishing. Maybe a couple of dead rubber games in the Champions League for Madrid, or even if he was in the squad. But my God, man, we lucky to have this guy at he's not even at the peak of his powers yet. He's nowhere near it. Bez, I mean, isn't it great that he's not going to Qatar and he's going to be there to? I'm sure he's going to be having a lot of debates and discussions with Arteta in terms of how they tackle and go forward in the following in the months to come. But yeah, just amazing performance from him again, wasn't it, Bez?
Absolutely, yes. Because for a captain that he is, such a young age, for what he's been through and what he's capable of, as you can see, his calmness is amazing to have. At 23 years old, if I'm correct, to have that leadership quality, it shows that he's so calm. He's he knows where he's at with his brain. He knows what the club wants. And the best part about it, when he scored his first goal, when he tapped the badge like this, I've not seen an Arsenal player do that in ages. I'm trying to do it myself. They've not done that in ages. I just felt like, I don't know why, but I'm not going to bring comparison, but comparing to someone I actually have close affiliation with, the midfielder wise, I'll say he reminds me like Freddie Ljungberg. He's he celebrates, but you just feel like you're there with him in that pitch. Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, I was there in Freddie Ljungberg's, I think, his one and only game before Emery took over, and it's just seeing that alone, I was like, why have we not seen this before? Why can't players? We play for this team, this badge, nearly swore now, and he's like, please play with your heart. Let's see more of this. You can see, as Neil said, going to Neil said, Martinelli for them as well. He was a nobody when he came to Arsenal, a complete nobody from a young age. Look at him now. Desire, run with the ball, dribble, does not care who it is. I'm not going to say names because it'll be a big list if I give the names, but it's just wonderful. You can see how, again, the media, I mean, from what I'm hearing, finds Jesus in a goal drought. For the love of God, he's playing with the team. That means he's making the team better. It's a team effort at the end of the day,
Yeah.
As you guys said just a few minutes ago, Henry, for example, was more round team player. Fine media said he was not a big game player. Fine, I want to say media back then. I was a little boy back then. But Henry produced the goods when he came as a team role. He led the team forward as well. Even though I was a captain back then, he told the players, I'll stay for you here. How possible to you there is in. Same thing with Jesus. He's telling them, basically, okay, I'm not scoring. I'll do whatever for the best of the team. But please, why is he getting so much stick if there's a drought? It's not that he's cursed. The man's done everything he could do. He looks calm as daisies. Even shame that goal was offside in the first few minutes. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But just how on earth this British media can just really try and rattle someone who's been in this league almost for, I think, 7 years now. And I feel like he's not just a nobody. Okay, yes, he's going through a drought, but for the logo, give the man a break. I mean, surely it takes some time as well. Like, you want your teammates to free roam. We've seen that now. Everyone like this. He said, Odegaard, Jack has improved a lot. Martinez come forward a lot. Saka impressed me as well, despite his goals being kind of nicked away from him. I see as well today as well, Smith was back in full training so far from a little picture, which kind of like gave me little goosebumps.
Yeah.
So far to me here, it looks good that the players have been a long time injured. It looks like they're coming back. I'm like, come on now, more of them, please,
Yeah, we'll talk about obviously ESR and the future later, but yeah, we'll touch on that, Neil, about a bit more about the narrative. Again, as I seem to bring it up every week, the narrative about Arsenal, and when we win and we get a result, the narrative changes. Now it's it wasn't until we were going to play a big side that we weren't going to get tested until we play a big side. We played Tottenham, but then we played Liverpool, and that was the big side, and we beat them. And then obviously we've gone on and on and on, and each time the narrative changes. Now the narrative, obviously, as we touched on already, is Jesus isn't scoring any goals, and someone's saying now, well, we've got to wait to see what happens after the World Cup. They'll be tested then. So I mean, it must be pretty amazing. I mean, this must be a first that Arsenal Football Club have provided every single player to represent all the countries in the World Cup, because it seems like the way the pundits are talking, we're the only club that are sending players out to the World Cup. The likes of Liverpool, City or whatever, all going to have a nice rest, feet up in Dubai and everything like that. And we're the only club that's sending players out. And, it's ridiculous that they're using that as an excuse to say, or an example to say, oh, well, we're going to struggle because of the World Cup. Well, we're not even sending the most players to the World Cup. Most of our players, a lot of our players, won't be guaranteed starters in the World Cup either. So again, but touching on that, Neil, I mean, it's just going to continue, isn't it? I think you mentioned it before. It's going to continue for as long as we're successful, until we actually win it. If we win it, they're going to still come with a narrative. I mean, you watch the commentary, and I think you mentioned on Twitter about Alan Smith and about his commentary and the commentator. I don't know what the commentator was on yesterday. Some of the stuff he was coming at was absolutely ridiculous. But Neil, I'll give you the floor, man. I mean, what
you've said so much there. Firstly, the narrative will continue. Even no. I just want to try and piece it all together. When we win it, it will still continue because they'll say it wasn't a normal season. But of course, Liverpool's one was perfect, even though it was done in the COVID season with no fans. But that was perfect. But when we do it, we had a winter break because of the World Cup, so it's not normal. So that's why and then they'll change it. The narrative will change because what will probably happen is our players will come back okay from the World Cup, and maybe the players from the other teams that are challenging won't, and that will be the excuse. They'll literally it's all for convenience every single time against us. It's convenience, and it's really peeing me off big time. I know people say, don't listen to it, don't rise to it. I don't. I've always said to ignore is the best weapon, not to bite. Just ignore is always the best weapon. But when you're actually sitting there and you're having to listen to this nonsense while you're trying to watch the game you love, it does grate on you. You're in the moment, you're passionate. If I was having to listen to commentary like that on the pitch, I'll tell you, you wouldn't be able to repeat what I'd be saying. You just wouldn't. So, and these days, because of technology, the only outlet we have is things like Twitter to write comments on things. And okay, I might have said something about Alan Smith, and a few people quite rightly said, look, at the end of the day, he's probably being so impartial that it looks like he's a kind of against Arsenal. I said, no, I get that. It's good to be impartial because that's your job. But however, to me, he always seems to come across a little bit too much on the negative side. And it's like straight away that incident with Ramsdale, where he got Traore was all over him, and he was on the floor, and straight away Smith was like saying that, well, the ball must have slipped out his hand, and that's why it led to that. And then when you saw that, and I was thinking, what are you talking about? When you saw the replay, it didn't slip out his hand. It happened. It was a proper clash. Yeah. And I was thinking, just Smith, that's the point. That's why I came out with that tweet. because you're jumping to conclusions even before you know all the facts. And he tends to do that a lot. And look, I love Smith. I know some people don't, even the older generation Arsenal fans. I grew up in the 70s and 80s supporting Arsenal. I grew up with the school of George Graham. And Alan Smith, for me, is a legend. He was part of the 89 Anfield team. He's always going to be a legend. He's part of that group. But sometimes it doesn't stop me from maybe having a little bit of criticism towards his punditry. And I'm going to do that. You know, no one's infallible. No one's perfect. Everyone says things in the heat of the moment. Fine. But it just grates on me. So the narrative is always going to be there, Michael, always, and that's unfortunate. And I just think when I take myself away from the emotion, I like it. You know why I like it? Because I'll say, well, it will make the wins and the success more sweeter for us. Because none of them like it. All the panel on Sky, you know, constantly going on about that penalty. They went on about it at half time, literally for the whole analysis. Then they had to talk about the win initially afterwards, and then they straight away, as soon as they got the chance, went back to the penalty again. I'm thinking, you're just repeating. You know, they asked them one by one, did you think it was a penalty? Hang on, you covered that at half time. What are you doing? You're repeating it, because it was almost like we want to take it away from Arsenal, what they've achieved. And I'll tell you something, Michael. The next thing is, they haven't played City yet. They haven't played Newcastle yet. We'll play Newcastle. We'll beat them. They haven't played City yet. We'll play City. We'll beat them. Yeah, but it's because of the World Cup. It's always going to be that.
Yes. There's always going to be an excuse. And
just before I go, shout out to Odegaard. I'm sorry I didn't mention him. It was brilliant. Because for me, Xhaka, I still think deep inside he's kind of still the unofficial captain. And when he came off, Odegaard just took that responsibility brilliantly. So well done, Odegaard. Kudos to you.
Yeah, good. Well said. In terms of where we are now, obviously, it's funny. We're still getting asked the question: Are we in a title race? You know, people are actually saying that. You know, this is the best start we've ever had in our history as a club. It's 136 years, and people are asking this: Are we in a title race? We are in a title race. Are we going to win the league? That's a different question. You know, obviously, Neil. I'm not going to ask you because I already know. Bez, you know, I'll ask you, you know, obviously we're in a title race. Let's just, you know, we know we're in a title race, okay?
Yeah.
But
whoever's watching this,
yes. I can ask you as well, do you think we're going to win the league? But that's a silly question, because of course we can win the league, because it's mathematically possible, and there's a multitude of things that could happen. You know, people are talking about us getting big injuries. City could get a big injury. Tottenham can get big injuries. They have in the past. It's part and parcel of football. But it's just how you deal with those injuries and how you manage the squad and everything. Neil was talking about Martinelli. Why can't Martinelli do the job that Jesus does if Jesus gets injured, rather than Nketiah? Because, you know, I think Martinelli adds that higher, more intense work rate and pressure than Nketiah does. You know, Nketiah he's always seemed to be a yard off a little bit. You know, he tries, you know, and that's not having a dig at the guy, but you know, he always seems a yard off. Whereas Martinelli, we know Martinelli's an absolute animal. You know, he and I don't think he'll play as many games out there in Qatar, so he'll be fresh. Hopefully, more fresh than Jesus. But we all want, obviously, our boys to get knocked out in the group stages. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? How annoying would the pundits be if all our boys get knocked out in the group stages, come back, sun it for like 2 weeks. And then, let's go again. Yeah, and all these other guys are in the final, and like, you know, that'd be fantastic. But as Neil was saying, you know, City's run have got to play Tottenham, United, Chelsea, and us away, and we've got to play City away. Obviously, I'm focusing on the away games, because obviously they're the ones that you really have to try and get something out of. So we've got City, Newcastle. Obviously Tottenham and Liverpool away to play still. So we've both got 3 teams, obviously, apart from heading against each other, that we've got to play against. So it's up for grabs, isn't it, Bez? I mean, you know, it all depends on the fitness and obviously who we maybe try and get in January in the window, right?
Absolutely. As a friend of mine, I'll say his name. He's actually a friend I've known lately, and I've built up with him through work. And his name is Hali, which will probably watch this. He told me we need to get one maybe in midfield, get one defensive player at least, have someone to cover, you know, Partey, because Partey will need a rest come February, I think. At least February, I think. Give him give him at least, I think, give him a few weeks rest if it's comes out, that season period that needs a little, can I say, a little break that he deserves, because, of course, he's going for World Cup, but also I feel his work has been immense as well, Partey. A lot of people have not mentioned him at all, even the media. Not one person has mentioned him that much lately. Oh, he is. Oh, a great goal. I think, for the love of God, he does more than words can describe, He holds the ball well. He contains himself well. He seems unfazed to me as well. He seems completely different player this season.
Yeah. Massive.
Up front, I say as well, talking of Eddie Nketiah, I have nothing against the lad, nothing at all. But for the love of God, he reminds me of Jeremy Aladier a long time ago, who's like, you got the audition, go forward. This is your moment. Like, please shine. This is him. I saw him, was it the highlights against Brighton? But okay, he took his goal well, fair enough.
Good goal, good finish.
But for the love of God, your work rate compared to Martinelli's sake is not the same. As you say, he's not there, but he tries too hard. He's like, when he was like end of last season, he had no pressure. I feel like he just delivered. Yes, he kept us going with those, scoring that he had. But I feel like I don't know what's happened to him. I know, okay, Jesus came to the fold, but all of a sudden, Eddie Nketiah's confidence just gone out the window. It's like, what happened to you, lad? Well, just overnight, you just lost your magical touch. I just want to say, I'm not attacking him, but all the sense I feel like, same with Sambi Lonkonga, I feel like the boy needs a loan, as I keep saying in my last one. Just send the boy on loan. Otherwise, if you need to sell him, fine. But please, he deserves a loan. I have nothing against that too. But he needs a loan, because if he's just walking around the pitch and he's not, let's say, committed to the cause, and he's just ball watching, I'm sorry, as a midfielder, you need to do more than that. Track back, defend your, defensive unit. Go forward when you need to. I'm watching all these tactic videos. So I talk about Arsenal's defensive unit in the last game. Again, just an example's sake, just against Chelsea game, how when we went forward, we had all the compact going forward. When we went back, everything got clawed back. I just felt like surely after we'll see this too, as you guys mentioned too, surely we'll see that when players need to be able to be, let's say, ready for a certain game. If he's, let's say, playing Jesus today, Jesus will do all he can for the team, which he's doing again, despite the goal drought. But Eddie Nketiah, again, he needs to be able to push himself. I'll say push himself a bit more, like go a bit further. Like before, I think end of last year, press the ball. Like say the goalkeeper or the opposition goalkeeper has the ball, he'll press for it, he'll go for it, go there. Now it's like it's not the same. I feel like something's happened in his mindset. It's just a bit erratic. I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think? I mean, I think it could be he's just seen the levels, what is required, what Jesus has come in and done, and he's seen that every week in training, and he's just sees, I'm not at that level. This guy's just a different beast. Whereas when he came in last season, towards the end of the season, he scored those goals. His reference points was Lacazette, who wasn't doing anything nowhere near that, and he could probably get motivated and thinking, I'm better than this guy. I'm going to show you. I'm better than this guy. And he did. He was making runs, he was scoring goals and everything like that. It had a lot more energy. But I think seeing Jesus every day at training and he's seeing what this guy is doing, maybe it's just taking a little bit of the edge off of him, thinking, well, I know it's not a straight fight. I know that this guy is the first one down and I'm only getting in, obviously, Europa or whatever. But again, he's great goal against Brighton. But I mean, touching on what Beza said, what would you do with him? Would you obviously keep sticking around? But Lokonga, he wasn't even in the squad yesterday, I don't think. So looks like he's a cert to get loaned out. But is there anywhere else that you think that we should definitely focus on, or particular two areas, or that we should definitely try and focus on to get in January? I know you're not too keen on transfers, but
no, I think you and Bess have actually summed it perfectly about Nketiah. I think Nketiah last season was on the cusp of either staying with the club or going. So either he was probably doing two things. He was either doing or both, trying to impress his next suitor, or he was trying to do that up his level so that he gets a better deal with Arsenal. And obviously it was the latter. Now he's got the deal, and all of a sudden Jesus has come in. I don't think any of us expected Jesus to do what he's doing to this. Literally got it running right from the very first friendly, straight on it, bang on. And he hasn't faltered since. I'm not interested in him not scoring goals. His defensive work as well. I couldn't believe the 2 or 3 times he was in defence. and winning the
Yeah.
ball back. I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, the guy does everything. I mean, what more do you want from him? Oh, he's got to score goals. Why? When he's in a position outside the box, you've got 4 other Arsenal players ready to take that ball. 4.
Yeah.
And that is the difference between us from this season and then seasons past. It's because of our off-the-ball movement has been unbelievable. It's all down to our off-the-ball movement. We've always known, we've always had quality. Even when Wenger, even in his twilight years, Wenger still had picked players that had skill, that had raw talent and skill. But what has changed is the fact that it's not just what we do with the ball at our feet; it's what we're doing without it, and that has been the difference. So I think Eddie is almost like, wow, you're right, Michael. You're right, Bez. How am I going to compete with this guy? I can't. If we're both fit, who's going to get picked? It's going to be him every single time. And that must have an effect on you as a mind. I know I always like to say I want players to be professional. They're professional people. They've got to rise above it. You know, people like Holding for me is a consummate professional. El Neni, they all are. All right, they're not the most skillful. They're not the most gifted of footballers, but they do a job when they come on and when they're needed. But I don't think Eddie Nketiah probably wants a little bit more than that. And if he's not going to get a look in, I don't think a loan's any good for him. I mean, I think we can't afford to lose him, Michael, if we're not going to strengthen in that area, because we still need cover there. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. So if we're going to get someone in January, then maybe it might be time for him to move on and try his career somewhere else. But I can't see it happening. He's just signed a contract. Yeah. I just can't see that happening. Where I would be concerned with is what Bez said earlier, the midfield, because, you know, Xhaka and Partey are invaluable at the moment. They're both unbelievable. Yeah. And if we lose one of them, Lokonga isn't the answer. He's definitely got to go on loan for me. Yeah. Definitely got to go on loan. So we need someone to come in who can do the job. And then I see. I'm not. That for me is the most important position. You know, we're talking about the right-hand side. Nelson has impressed me. I was there at the Brighton game, and I know a lot of people give some of the players pelters, but I was right at the front, and I could see what Nelson was doing. And boy, I was so impressed by him. Yeah, and I really think that he could step in now and do a job on the right. Yeah. He really could. Yeah. I'm more concerned about the middle of the park. That's where I think we need reinforcement. But I've got a feeling we're going to get 2 in January. I really do. Mm-hmm. 2 big signings.
Yeah, I hope so. I agree with you both. I think with Smith Rowe coming back as well, as Bez touched on, being coming back, he adds another option in the attacking third. So I think in that area we're pretty good. You know, I think Marquinhos will probably go out on loan as well, especially if ESR comes back in and he sort of kind of takes his spot in the squad. Obviously got Vieira as well, Nelson. So I think going forward we're okay. We've got the cover there for just Eddie. What's his mindset out? Tierney, I think at the end of the season is something we maybe have to worry about, because I think he might be looking to maybe get some games and go somewhere, because again he wasn't involved at the start again. But yeah, I definitely think defensive midfield. As you said, Lokonga's not an 8. Sorry, he's not a 6. He's a more of an 8. Going forward, around that area, threading balls through, what have you. El Neni can do a job for you for 2 or 3 games, and then if he's around quality, but then his level will drop. We saw what happened against Brighton, where he was maybe up against. He was alongside obviously players that weren't that good to help him out. So I think you can rely on him for 1 or 2 games, but then you need to get Xhaka or Partey back in if they are injured. But definitely, I think if there is one position, it has to be defensive midfield. We have to sort out and get that locked down, really. And I think you're right, Neil. I think we will invest. I've been told that they've from someone that the board, if we were in this position, first or second, that we would. Back Arteta and with a big name. I know they're talking about the Ukrainian winger, but again, we're sort of okay in that instance. But they obviously see something that we haven't possibly. But yeah, so it's interesting chat. It's always good to turn over walls after what the sort of the problems they gave us last season, and that's where the whole celebration police was born, I think, when after we beat them twice, and yeah, it was just great to keep the win going, and we'll show this again just to. If there are any unfortunate to watch any Wolves fans wanting to watch this, but what we'll do after this quick break, we'll talk about obviously a recap of the season, just what Neil and Bez's key men are, who they are so far, and just some of their moments and their results of the season that they've enjoyed, and hopefully more to come, not just after this. So, boys, I know, again, I keep touching on it. Neil, obviously, he's a bit of a Nostradamus. He knew, we were going to be top of the table by this time. He knew, he knows we're on course to do the treble now, and not the quadruple as he believes in.
It's coming. Don't you worry. He's coming in our next 3-4 years.
But touch on you first, Neil. Who's been the key man or men for you so far this season? I know it's bloody hard. Bez asked Bez earlier, and he gave me the whole team, the 1 to 11. So
Bez just stole my thunder.
Who are your key guys, man, so far, Neil?
Really, all of them. Because at the end of the day, what we're seeing is a team. Yeah. We're seeing a team performance. That is why we're where we are. That is why we've enjoyed the success.
There you go. That sums it up. That sums it up for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and exactly. Look at that picture. That's it. There you go. And you know where that started for me? I'll tell you where that all started for me. It actually started right from the friendlies, but where this is poignant, that picture just reminded me of the huddle that Shaka got everyone into when we scored that first goal. Was it against Tottenham?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that told me so much, because even in the Invincibles days, we would do that kind of huddle post and pre-game, not after a goal.
Yeah.
So that's something I'd never seen before. And I thought, wow, there's something very special going on here. And the fact that Xhaka was orchestrating it makes me, if you're going to ask me if there's anyone that stands out, I mean, I could say Jesus, I could say Saliba, I could say Ben White, I could say Partey, I could say even Reece Nelson when he's come back, and Sean. It's if you pushed me, I'll say Xhaka, because
amazing.
My God, what I thought of him after Palace and what I think of him now is two different things completely. The guy has been the lifeblood of everything that's happened this season for me. Absolutely. And I'm so happy for him. I really am truly happy for him. And I think he is so important to our team. If there's one player that needs to start every game, it's him. 100%. Because he really makes a massive difference. And I've got to say again, it's a team effort that's enabling him, especially Partey. It's enabling him to do what he's doing, but he's still got to do it.
Yeah,
and he's doing it with aplomb. He's taken that role on with aplomb. And mate, I have to just say it. Give him his kudos. So that is me. But to me, as a general, it's been a team effort. I think I want to applaud every single contributing player that's got us into this position. It's just been fantastic. And Hasselbank, no, we don't need to be in 4 cups to get the investment, because you'll just see what happens in January. So just shut your mouth and stop your narrative.
Well said. And Bez, you follow up on that? Obviously,
I every way. I mean, I can say Xhaka too, but for me, Saka, the boy's delivering everything you can see. Then on the right hand side, he makes that role. He's put his own. From the setback he received in the Euros we saw, in all things considered, for me, that boy Saka is amazing. To become from a big setback, the way you've been through, strong lad, come back stronger, complete different person. Again, as Neil said, I can say Xhaka, I can say Partey, I can say Gabriel, the defender too, Saliba, who's been away in and out. It's like everyone, it just seems like, hello, you want to steal my spotlight? It's my turn in this game. Yesterday was Odegaard's game. The other day was Saka. The other day was Saliba. It's like it's just I don't know. As we say, victory through harmony. Right now, there's more than harmony. Right now is like the symphony of Beethoven. I will say for me, because like it's just every time I talk about Arsenal, even with my clients at work, will be my colleagues even.
Yeah.
Say, guys, stop being so salty all of a sudden. We've suffered more than any other fan base in this planet right now, and even people now calling it the turnaround of the Premier League. If they have ever seen, of course, it is turnaround, but you see the pictures. They don't speak 1,000, let's say, words, but they speak action. They speak how we've come a long way. Well, the manager people said, "Oh, he's a rookie." Man, people forget he played for us. He was a captain for us for a while. He led the team in 2011, 2012, if I'm correct. When we, again, I don't want to start like being an outburst here, but we lost 82 against United. He joined us in the last, basically, day of Premier League season, entry. And look at him now. He's going to regenerate the whole squad.
Yeah.
The documentary on that gave me a belief to say this man can actually have a reason why he's erratic, why he kind of like has these moments, he has these imperfections, he has his faults. But you can see this season he's learned a lot from last year. You can see how to handle himself, how to, even the media. I see not one time the man is rattled. It's amazing to see for a manager who's only 40 years old. I know, Neil, 40 years old even. He's so calm. For me as well, I'm only like 6 years younger than him. But I feel like, man, what a great man to even follow up to. Like even a leader to see in his life, in this city, even for him who's you saying enjoys the city, enjoys the life. Yeah. What more can you have for a manager, son? He feels warm, Yeah. Us as well as a unit, as a fan base, we're enjoying this. Well, that's why we do these things. Yeah. People telling me, well done, you do this podcast now. You got a hobby. I said, it's not just a hobby. It's something passionate that burns inside me. I love talking about this club when it's beautiful, when everything's in sync, as fan base. Yeah. We have this great feeling. Things can go wrong, you understand? A certain, group, I won't say the name now, as you guys know, but during the Wenger era, I won't say them now. No. They made it toxic for him. They made it so toxic. It was not nice how Wenger was treated near the end. Yeah. They tried with Arteta during pandemic. They tried again last season with Arteta. But this year, I feel Arteta has told them, to the players, focus on the good things, and look what will happen. And we're seeing it now. The reaping the rewards, as Neil said. Kudos to everyone involved. Even Edu, credit to him. He's keeping the players that we need. People who play for this club. It's like people know what the Arsenal DNA is. It's basically play for the shirt, but also give the fan backs what we love. We love to see this. We love to see this club thrive. It's like every now and then I do see what be again media, as we say, other fan bases even. For the love of God, when Arsenal do well, everyone is like, oh, let's just throw under the bus. Every Arsenal fan, every Arsenal player, every Arsenal, legend even, for God's sake. I feel like, guys, give us a break when we're doing well. Who hurt you, basically? Who hurt you inside? Like in your heart, Yeah. Like, look at this. Like Liverpool lose the other week, or United lose the other week. Oh, so sad. Oh, Villa just beat United 3-1. I was like, good on Emery. Thank you. Good on Emery. They came back in the league and re-announced themselves. Look, I can rediscover myself in this league. Who knows? I hope he does well at Villa. Don't get me wrong, because he was mistreated by some of our fan base. I won't say who right now. It's like keep it stum, but basically not nice to see.
And some of the players, who are no longer there. I think a lot of players that show him some respect, and they openly took the mick out of him in trading, which is common knowledge. That's what they did, and that's not classy. And none of those players are there anymore.
Exactly.
The ones that are the bad apples aren't there anymore. So.
Sorry, the only way is forward. As we say, you can look back in the past. We learned a lot from ex-players, the drama queens. Some had the reason to be maybe in their own right, but the last one, I won't go to his name right now, but I feel like he didn't need to say that. I'm sorry, as a player who played for Arsenal and we as fan base, we treated you well. Why would you go to certain media and say, oh, because Arteta was this and he handles the younger players well, they only listen to because they're young, they want to reestablish. I'm going to say, what about you? You go to, as the documentary said, you go to Barcelona and visit the city on transfer deadline week. Okay, yes, your father's sick. I can understand that. But at the same time, what gives you the right to like betray the manager, betray your, the fan base even? Because basically we'll have second ideas, As I said, basically in the documentary, you know what? Just tear up his contract and just let him go. Let him do his thing. And now he's suffering again because he knows with us he could be a legend. I love the boy, but just sadly disappoints me. Just why talk trash about the club who kept you at that time of life? We open you with open arms. You try to trash us now.
Yeah, the thing with Aubameyang, yeah, he's tarnished his legacy. He'll go just like the other Chelsea strikers that have gone before him. He'll be forgotten about by the Chelsea fan base in about 9 or 12 months' time. You know, they've gone through managers, strikers so often. But anyway, forget about them. We'll wrap it up, guys. Again, thank you for your time.
Can I just say 2 things, please?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, next season, I just want to see more of the same.
Yeah.
The only thing that will stop us is complacency. Number 1, key injuries. Number 2, and that's pretty much it. And if we overcome that, we're going to the parade in May, 100%. I actually believe if things go really well, we'll have that title wrapped up by the end of April, maybe even before. I really believe.
Imagine winning it at City on the 26th of April.
That's what I think is going to happen. That's what I think is going to happen. And
I've got a ticket for that one. I don't know what to. I'm debating whether to go or not. But
you have to go, man. You have to go.
I don't know.
And just another thing, just quickly, it's something I know I'm really twisting the pod here. And I'm so sorry.
Don't worry about it.
There's one thing I did forget to mention, which I think is really key to what we are seeing as a success of this club. Is yesterday Saliba made 2 mistakes, and who was there to mop them up? It's Gabriel. They're playing for each other. When the Rolls Royce has a little bit of a splutter, you got someone coming in and helping him out, and that is what was so key. The penalty incident, he got his body in the way, was it, or something on the shot, or one of the other incidents, and then the other one where that was the one where Saliba made a mistake and he played it back and it was a bad pass.
Got a deflection on it.
And he got a deflection on it. You see, so that is where is the difference between the season that we're having now and the seasons past. We're all playing for each other. And I've just got to say that this is magnificent. We're not just winning, we're winning well, and we're winning with style and panache. And come on.
Yeah, the levels is of football, that what we're doing at the moment is amazing. And yeah, it's all down to Arteta and his coaching, man. And he's got Pep running scared, mate. He's coming out with stuff saying that he learned more from Arteta than Arteta learned from him and things like that. And you saw the way they were chucking themselves over to try and win penalties left, right, and centre against Brentford. It's looking good. It's looking good, Bez. I'll say that it's looking good, mate. I'll have to throw this one up as well. It's looking good, mate. It's looking good. But again, I've got to say thank you guys for your time. It's been a marvelous few months, supporting Arsenal, and obviously a few months coincided with doing this, and obviously having you guys on the show. It's been amazing. Thank you so much. I think I'll show you another picture, which sort of I think encompasses how we're all feeling at the moment as Arsenal fans, which is this, and pretty much both. We're all those emotions at the moment. We're grabbing each other. Is this really happening? Yes, it is. Let's enjoy it. That's all we can do as fans and back the team. But no, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like the show, and share it with all like-minded Gooners. I might be back later this week with just more of a bit of a review with some of the other guys, and then we've got a transfer show sort of wish list thing to come up in the next couple of weeks to take the time off during the World Cup, so there's some Arsenal content there, because hopefully the World Cup will be good, enjoyable, but I've got a feeling it's not going to be that enjoyable. I think it's going to be pretty much of a bit of a dud. But no, thanks for watching. I'll be back later this week, and I've been Michael Harris. I should know how to do this by now. Yeah, so he's Bez, and he's been Neil, Champions-elect Shah.
Come on,
amazing. We finished Christmas at the top of the tree. Amazing 5 points clear. We should be top by New Year if the way things work out as well. To be a Gooner. Thanks very much for watching, and see you in a couple of days' time. Come on, you Reds.
You know who made it.